Hey everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit for Monday, May 13th, 2024, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. I'm Jer Stays, and today we're getting ready for Ferndale Pride coming up at the beginning of June. Organizer Julia Music will be here in the studio, along with Fletcher Sharp. Thanks so much to our members on Patreon for making this show happen, patreon.com/dailydetroit. And as always, feedback is welcome, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Let's get started. Ferndale Pride is coming up Saturday, June 1st, 2024, and joining me and Fletcher Sharp at the Tech Town studio is none other than friend of the show, key organizer to all these things, Julia Music. Welcome back to Daily Detroit. It is always such a joy to see you, and also, I have to say, it is a joy to see you in a shirt of Fletcher's face, which I think is epic and also available for listeners if they'd like to purchase. But wow, Julia, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here.
So before we get into Pride, Fletcher's face. Why are we wearing Fletcher's face? It's amazing.
Well, Fletcher had a fundraiser going online, and he has such a cute face that I thought that would be a great shirt to own.
I love the look. This is not video, but I would be priceless to see your face right now in the love that's being shown to you across this table. It's like a Care Bear just opened up towards you.
My therapist says I need to be more receptive to compliments, so I'm processing that at a slower pace than normal. But yeah, I there's a company out of the Netherlands who I think also could do some stuff in Minneapolis, and they do a lot of soccer culture stuff. And I used to joke like, oh, when I hit this point in being a soccer journalist, I'm going to get my own shirt. And like 4 or 5 years ago, they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I kept doing it. And then I stopped for like 2 years. And then last year, they're like, hey, do you want that shirt? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever. They're like, send us a picture. So I sent one. They're like, give us some colors. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And they didn't say anything to me. Like a month passed. And all of a sudden, like they're like, hey, check your inbox. And I was like, what? They're like, the shirt's up. And I was like, all right. And then people were like, I'm going to buy it. And Julia's like, I'm going to buy it. And I was like, yeah, sure. Whatever. And then she showed up today and she's like, look. And I was like, oh my God, that is me.
It's a fantastic shirt.
There will be a post on social media all about it. So let's talk about Pride. It is the largest free-to-the-public LGBTQAI plus festival in Michigan, in the heart of downtown Ferndale. It is always so much fun. I know we've talked to you before, but for the uninitiated, there's so many people who come and go with the show. Ferndale Pride, what's a little bit of the history behind it?
Well, 14 years ago, when Motor City Pride decided to move from Ferndale to Detroit, Craig Covey called me, Monica Mills, and council member Greg Polika together and said, what do you want to do about Pride leaving Ferndale? And we said, we'd like to continue Pride in Ferndale. And he said, cool, let's do that this year. And we said, you have to be kidding. We don't have any time. And he said, we'll figure it out. We don't have to do a festival, but we can do something. And that year we did a series of 4 marches with the principle that we would raise some funds and give them back to some nonprofits in the community. And we have grown that and stuck to that since. We've raised over $350,000 for charities that work within Ferndale. And we just keep growing the event and making it more fun every year.
Yeah, I mean, going out every year has been truly an honor to see so many people so pumped about Pride and showing off not just your vendors, but you got so many people who are just into this thing that, I love that it's a free festival. I love that there's so many programs going along with it. For you, what kind of motivates you every day to do this? Because this is a big part of your life now. Like Pride, I feel like Julia Music and Pride are almost synonymous at this point.
It is a big part of my life. I've been an activist since I was very young, and I'm very lucky that this gets to be my main gig at this point, because it does take a long time, not just to plan the event, but all the other events that go with it. What motivates me is really seeing the change that we've brought about in the state of Michigan, frankly. It's only within the last year that I have full job equality as an LGBT person, full equality to purchase a home in the state of Michigan. That only happened within a year. And so my whole life I've been fighting for some of the things that are finally coming to fruition. So seeing it happen, seeing people be able to be LGBT and proud and out is a completely different situation than when I was a child. So I'm just happy to see all the progress we're making, and then I'm also like pushing to make more progress the whole time.
Well, there is so much to do, and I don't think a lot of people realize just how far we have come, but how recent all of those changes have been. I remember when I worked in the corporate world, we really were trying to push for changes to Elliott Larson for exactly what you're talking about, because you could just be fired in Michigan just for being like, that could be the reason you're let go. And that is something that not only to me is morally reprehensible, but also to me a huge sign of Michigan being open for the best talent and the best business, no matter where it comes from and who they love and all of that. I think that's so crucial in today's modern world, to be modern, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
So with Pride, there are a number of events, and then there's the big thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the events. You do these events, I assume, as fundraisers, but also ways to bring the community together in different ways than just like the big party on June 1st.
Yeah, we like to try to build community, bring people out for all different types of reasons, and also kind of speak to different segments of the community. And so we've got some great events coming up that are fundraisers for us, kicking off with on the 18th with sleigh bingo and brunch over at the Syndicate, which is a new place in Ferndale. Syndicate Ferndale, if you guys have been there
Tell me about Syndicate for a second.
So Syndicate opened up right over on Vester. It has a huge patio, beautiful space, and they are going to do a drag brunch with bingo for $25 buy-in. You get a ticket, you get to play some bingo, have some great time with drag queens, eat some great food, have some amazing drinks. And then later that night, we have Small Packages, which is I believe this is our third annual Small Packages fundraiser. So artists from all over Southeast Michigan got a cigar box, and they create something completely unique, and then we auction them off. This fundraiser is one of the coolest nights of the year. It is just like cool artsy stuff going on. Everyone's hanging out, watching the auction go on, outbidding each other. Super fun night. There's some food and drink going on, so please come on out to that as well. And then right before Pride, we always have a prayer ceremony. It's our interfaith service. We pray for a good Pride with people from all different faiths, and we get together to share in the common goal of just having a spiritually sound Pride. And then it's time for the big day. But you can pause me and ask me some questions because I feel like I've just been talking.
Oh, that's totally fine, because people should know about these things, and we'll put them, of course, in the show notes and on dailydetroit.com. Why do you think that Ferndale has become such a center of things, not just in Metro Detroit, but the state of Michigan? I know that there's other events, but to me, and if I'm being honest, I feel like Ferndale is very much like kind of the spiritual, you're mentioning spirit, like feels like the spiritual center of the community, in so many ways.
Yeah, and I can definitely pinpoint to two places that have made Ferndale feel like this for the LGBT community. And for me, the first one is Affirmations. I have been going to Affirmations Gay LGBT Community Center since I was 16 years old, although it's been open longer than that. Being in the heart of our city, being a gay community center has just made it a place where people can actually find this solace. And then, of course, all the stores and restaurants around it have made themselves feel like home too. And when you have that kind of core downtown, it really makes it feel like a safe space to be. So when I need to recharge and see people I know and love, I walk downtown, I walk into Soho, I grab, usually a thirst mutilator, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Love one of those non-alcoholic beverages and hang out with those people that I've known my whole life between Soho or Affirmations. I can just see these people that feel like family to me.
And I think there's something valuable about just being able to be just there. And there's no question about that. I've also noticed, too, that the community has been growing. We've had Representative Mike McFall on Hazel Park, things like that. Like the community is not just within the boundaries of Ferndale. And one of the things I think is interesting is that you'll see people from all over the region kind of coalesce around Ferndale.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like I look out at opening ceremonies, which will happen at 12:30 on the day of Pride, and I see representatives always from Hazel Park, always from Huntington Woods, always from Pleasant Ridge, Oak Park. It's just beautiful, and they want to come support Ferndale, and then we are able to actually go back into their communities and support them as well, which is fantastic.
And those opening ceremonies last year was a pretty big deal.
Yeah. It was really beautiful to see. The governor came out, Dana Nessel came out, as well as Jeremy Moss, and lots of elected officials. This year we have some special things. Many of our SASH winners will be at opening ceremonies.
Okay, so let's talk about SASH winners.
Okay, so I care a lot about people's SASHs. If you have won an award, I want to see it, obviously, as I'm wearing my Fletcher shirt today.
So let's explain for those who don't know the SASH. That just stands for an award,
So like a sash like you would wear as a prom queen. Maybe. Okay. So right now we have a reigning hot daddy and cougar, and those folks have competed to raise money for us. So they are both sash holders, and they're going to be joining me on stage. Soho had a leather contest earlier this year, and they have a reigning Soho leather, so he will be with me as well. And then we also have 4 people competing for the transgender pageant system in the state of Michigan, and 2 of those people are supporting our charity, Ferndale Community Foundation, and the other 2 will also be with us. So Mr. Trans Michigan, Miss Trans Michigan, Mixed Trans Michigan, and Mr. Trans Great Lakes will all be with us in attendance. So huge crowd to support them as well. So opening ceremony should be a good time.
For sure. And the event itself, there is just so much entertainment and things happening. You mentioned the vendors on the website, and us at Daily Detroit will be there. So we like to show out pretty strongly, because people may not know this, but a pretty large percentage of our group, I don't want to name anybody, it's up to them to talk about it, but a pretty large percentage of our group are actually LGBTQIA+. It's integrated into who we are as a publication. We are not we are not just a publication for one group, but we are well represented, shall we say. And so for us, it's a natural extension. For us, it's not about like showing up, to like show off, but just this is who we are. And, Engineer Randy is very active in the community in many ways. And I want us to say publicly thank him for connecting us in so many ways.
Yeah. You guys have a really cool booth. I think your listeners should know, because it's a booth worth seeking out. They have made this giant arch out of rainbow flowers, I think is the best way to explain it. And it is a great photo op. So definitely go get your picture taken there. It's a central location, kind of near Affirmations, where I was talking about earlier.
Yeah. For people who don't know, and I know this is a bit of a mother may I step back, but like, what is the importance of affirmations? Like, I've heard of it. I'm aware of it, but why don't you in your own words talk about it? Because I hope there are some listeners out there who maybe they haven't, or maybe they're looking for something like that.
I mean, affirmations serve so many people for so many different reasons. For me, over the years, I've used it as a source of support groups. When I was a young person, I went and got some mentoring on how to learn how to like speak up for myself in groups, how to lead groups, just some of the skills that I was not getting in school. And right now they still have programs like that where students can do internships. And now they've moved to a point where students are getting paid internships at Affirmations, where they're learning skills, job readiness. There was a dance program going on when I was there yesterday. There are senior citizens having social talks and coffee. There are people going for substance abuse programs. There's counseling going on. There's so much happening in that building that it is really that important hub for so many people. And even if you don't need a service, you're welcome to go walk in, look at the art. Maybe if you're a teen, go into the teen room and play some of the games. They have beautiful stuff for kids to play with, and different books and things to read. It's just a lovely space. So being in the heart of our community, it's really made it easy to throw a Pride Festival around such a beautiful space.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I like Pride as a whole. You just see people who might maybe be unsure of anything, get to Pride, see everyone get there and just be happy to step into themselves. And then you see more people feel the same exact way. You just see the elation from most people just there, just being happy to be somewhere where they feel like themselves and they can just be out and be themselves and be happy. And like as someone who's like I love seeing people happy from a distance. So like if you were someone who's just looking for a very happy, joyous, the Pride's like the number one thing, just to go and just see people just be happy and just doing things and hanging out with people without fear of anyone just being a butthead for the sake of being a butthead.
Yeah. I mean, it is something to think about. Like I sometimes forget because I've been out for so long, and I get to be queer as my all day long, every day. But there are people who have come to Pride who've told me that this is the only day they are out. And then they are back in their community and they are not gay. And I'm like, wow, that is a burden that I can't imagine. But thank you for coming today.
there's so many places, honestly, in our state still that are that way.
Yeah.
And people who feel that they cannot be themselves in their daily life, and they have to present to conform, and not just like in the over the top way, but just being themselves and having a conversation of, oh, they find somebody attractive or whatever. There's so many people I know that have had to shove that down over the years.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that people should come out just to come out if they're not safe. They need to do what's the safest for them.
For sure.
But it is really like, for me, being able to have this day where it's like, okay, you get one day. If we're going to give you one day, we're going to give it to you the best we can do. So
one of the things I enjoy about this event, although, not to take away from anything else, there are so many events out there of all kinds that are like multiple days. I love the Ferndale Pride's like, this is the day.
this is it.
This is it. Because I'll tell you, after the end, like at 8, 9 p.m., taking down that booth, I am exhausted because there's just so much energy out there.
Yeah, it's wild. And frankly, we've been there for like 10 more hours than you guys.
No, I know you have. I see the posts on Instagram stories or whatever. It's insane what you're able to do.
Yeah, we turn it on that day.
For sure. So what are some of the other activities happening around it? And so people know.
So on the day of Pride, we start with our opening ceremonies at 12:30. At 1 o'clock, all the vendors will open and the entertainment will kick off at both stages. And then the entertainment will continue all the way throughout the day. Entertainment ends at 10 o'clock. Our booths close around 8 o'clock. Although booths might stay open till 10 if things are selling, they have that option. Our headliners this year over at the performance stage, I'm excited to be able to say this. Last year, I don't think I could when I was here. Our headliners are Recno, and he is a Detroiter, so we're excited to have one Detroiter over there. And then on our other stage, at the dance stage, we have DJ Holographic, who is also a Detroiter. So we're really represented with some amazing Detroit talent on both stages. Nature's Remedy is going to be dead center, starting the party off. So if you want, definitely come by and see their booth. They are the naming rights sponsor this year. And then there's all sorts of different things you can do as activities once you are in the festival itself. If you have family and you want to see the children's area, there is acrobatics going on, aerial acrobatics. There is reading with royalty. Top of every hour, kids can get books read by people in the pageant system or some of our best drag queens and kings around. There, in that area, there's also a place where you can breastfeed, chest feed, pump, or make a bottle. And there's an arts and crafts area too. And then we'll have other special things going on like bubbles and things like that. At 1 o'clock, the confetti drop happens off of Affirmations roof. So if you want an amazing photo op, go run over to the Affirmations area and see the confetti drop.
I was finding confetti in my stuff for a long time.
That is a sheer sign of pride. Like if there's glitter in your house 3 months later, you went to a Pride festival. And then
Fletcher's nodding here.
It's intense. And then we have some other things going on throughout the festival as well. So there's some locations for people who get overstimulated during festivals. There's a sensory space. They can go and have some quiet time to calm down. We have a space also for people who are sober or sober curious in the recovery zone where there's going to be some activities for adults happening. And then throughout, there's little booths and areas that people can go and do activities. Like you guys have a photo. There's people selling crafts and goods. There's organizations they can find out about services they might be looking for everything from LGBT services to adoption to different religious organizations that support the community. So there's a lot to do that day.
One of the things I love about the location is that it gives a true sense of place because you're right in the heart of downtown Ferndale, right down 9 Mile. And there's all the vendors. And then there's also the ability to kind of like off ramp a little bit and see all the different businesses and things that are around. I love seeing all the flags out and all the people and people getting the opportunity to try different spots, in downtown Ferndale that maybe they wouldn't have normally.
Yeah, and that's something we're really proud of. Because our event's free to the public, we do rely on sponsors. And so if you look for that Ferndale Pride sponsor tag on the door or check our website, you'll see our sponsors. Please shop with them. They spend a lot of money on us to make this event happen, and we are able to bring such a high-quality event because of our sponsorship. So check everyone out. The bars and restaurants have tons of events going on, and a lot of that
and
will
they keep it
be
going
listed
too.
Yeah, actually, we think we're having parties all the way to 4 a.m. for the first time ever in Ferndale. We have Orchid Theater. We'll be doing a till 4 a.m. party, so an after hours.
So like, if that's your vibe, it's there. How important is it to you to make this a free festival as opposed, and so many things are just charging nowadays. And I mean, I get it and math and all that other stuff, but you've managed to keep it free.
I am a single parent. I'm pretty cognizant of the fact that I only have one child, but I think about like when a parent has like 3 or 4 children, or like the parents who went to the court system to get marriage equality, who are Michigan natives, like they have, I believe 4 children. So if they were going to go to a Pride festival and they have to pay, let's say $10 to get in, that's $60 just to walk in the door. And don't they deserve to be there? It doesn't make sense. So this is what we've established. And, we used to even take donations on the day of Pride, and we got to a point where I said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to work hard enough throughout the year to make sure that everyone feels comfortable if they have $0 in their pocket to walk in. And if they have $0 in their pocket and they're hungry, to walk up to our volunteer booth and say, hey, I don't have anything to eat today. Can you make sure I have a snack? And we will make sure you have one. We make sure that everyone there is welcome. Everyone there feels safe. That is what we try to do.
And I mean, that's the most important thing of any festival, is making sure that people who want to come there feel welcome and feel like, I want to come back and do this. Because like to your point, family of 6, $10 I had to get in, that's $60 there, not even including eating, and like stuff like that dissuades some people from going to things like sporting events or things of that nature, where it's like you spend so much money to get into these places and it's like, well, you enjoyed this one thing, we're not doing this anytime soon. So you want to have an event that's super open and super inclusive like Ferndale Pride and have it be free, then it's even more super inclusive and super open, and people are like, hey, I can do this, I want to bring my friends with me. You see large groups of people just show up and say, we're going to go here and do this, and they get all around the parts of Ferndale they might not have gone to normally. And like it relates back to my other point of like why I love the festival so much, because you just get to see everything and just people just embracing people and being happy and being able to just get around everywhere and just take in everything. And like, I mean, I props to you for finding ways to make sure that it can stay free after all these years, because I know Demps tried to do something similar, and like after a while they're like, no, $50 a head, everyone come in here, pay. And then like, so the fact that you guys can keep going this long and continue to go this long and keep it the way it is it's not, don't want to say a miracle and undersell the hard work that's done, but you get what I'm saying.
It's also part of the founding ethos of Daily Detroit. A lot of stuff in local news really focuses on having a paywall. And, people all the time say you should put up a paywall. You should limit everything that you do. And the thing is that I think it's important for people to be able to connect to their community. And that's why it's like, okay, we do our Patreon to help people say, okay, if you want this thing to exist, it helps others get it. You do sponsorships and everything else, but I can tell you it is so much work. It is the hardest path to pick to do something that's free to attend, because there's so much work that ends up going up on the team. But it's part of why I respect what you do so much, Julia.
Thank you. I mean, I think it's wonderful to just be able to see all your friends and neighbors and know that no one was excluded. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
So let's get into where do we want to send people, all that other stuff. They want to get involved in these events. The events start May 18th.
Yes. So we have events going on now from May 18th on. After Ferndale Pride, also there's
events everywhere.
There's a takeover on the patio on the day of Ferndale Pride at Syndicate again, the Pride fundraiser for us. After Pride, we have an alcohol-free dance party, which is going to be our first big alcohol-free dance party. DJ Rebecca Goldberg is spinning. She is a very well-known techno DJ here in Detroit, so I'm very excited to have her sign on for this project. And then we have some drag entertainment. There'll be go-go dancers at this event. And then Absence of Proof will be pouring non-alcoholic mocktails, mixed drinks, and serving all sorts of beverages up that day.
Some friends have been telling me about them, that they've been doing some interesting events. That's somebody actually I want to definitely talk about on the show at some point.
Like, Absence of Proof people are fantastic. You should definitely have a chat with them. And then we have
I feel like you might know them.
I do. And then we have a golf scramble too that we put on, LGBT golf scramble on a Monday later on in the year. That event has just continued to grow. And then we have other things going on too, but if you go to ferndalepride.com/events, you'll see them all.
All the things at ferndalepride.com.
Ferndalepride.com. We also run Ferndale Pride on our Instagram and our Facebook, and both are just Ferndale Pride.
Well, I am looking very much forward to June 1st. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. We've actually got special edition Pride stickers.
Ooh,
with like the holographic on them. Yeah, with like the rainbow Daily Detroit. Julia Music, always so good to see you. I'm excited about Pride yet again, and I think this is such a great community event for Metro Detroit.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me a chance to talk about Pride.
Thanks so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll talk tomorrow.